I'm that girl sitting in a storm and loving it. Plus, I have friend. Hi Ryan, how you doing today?
Great, Joe. Thanks. Better than you, weather-wise, sounds like.
We're fine. We live in a very windy city, and this is just a normal Tuesday morning for us, really. But unfortunately, for other parts of my country, they have been hammered, slammed with this storm, and that's unfortunate. But we know communities come together. We know unity is created when there is tragedy. And I think everyone deserves the unity. So whatever it takes, right?
Yes, yes. It's beautiful. It's beautiful here. It's been wintertime for a while. I actually opened my windows in the house. It's above freezing for the first time in 4 months, and the sun's shining. It's gorgeous. So yeah, it
Man.
puts everyone in a good mood.
But yeah, your temperature of comfort and warmth and my temperature of comfort and warmth are quite different, that's for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, special day, Valentine's Day, very special, right? But every day should be a day of focusing on love and empowering ourselves to love ourselves and empowering ourselves to love others. And this is the best approach to have, I think. We can really conquer any problems or challenges or situations when we remember that we are loved, we are protected, and that we are at a human level the ones who are supposed to love and support and protect people from their own worries and fears the best way we can.
Yes.
So tell me about you last night stalking the sky.
Sure. So it was a gorgeous night last night. We had a few. We didn't have any northern lights last night, but we've had last 4 nights have been pretty nice. So I like to go out there. We had no wind. So yeah, just out and located Orion and located trying to get familiar with the constellations and trying to locate the Pleiadians. And I was just curious. I took in an old star map that I actually grabbed from my parents when I visited a few months ago. Something I kept as a kid, which made me interested to think about because I definitely had interest in astrology as a kid because I was out of all the posters I've ever had, I kept the one with the constellations. So I thought that was pretty funny, and I didn't realize it until I grabbed that map out last night. So I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at the stars, having a 20 minutes of just peace outside. And then I started thinking about New Earth and manifesting and our powers and manifesting. And I just talked out loud, manifested. I'm fairly new to this stuff, but like my perfect little house, with a barn and full of animals, with a big garden, and I described everything as much detail as I can, right down to like how many posts are on the fence. Um, and that kind of led me into, taking another shot at channeling for myself, where I basically asked a few questions and then I had some answers. And I had to shake my head and think about, well, like, where did these answers come from? Did I just think of this? Is this something I thought about before I asked it? So it was very interesting, very powerful. Definitely makes me interested on taking that time again to try it again. Yeah, it was just very peaceful and very knowing. That's the best way I can describe it. But yeah, it was gorgeous, and I really appreciate it, and looking forward to trying to do the same thing tonight.
Awesome. It sounds great. So you've put yourself into a state of openness. You're looking, searching visually for senses and feelings as you are outside in the sky. Sorry, outside looking in the sky. And then you're starting to be aware of promptings of questions and perspectives and concepts potentially that you are still wanting clarification on. So they will prompt you to think this for you to then think, yeah, what is that? And then they give you the answers. And so this is definitely part of your telepathy, whatever you want to call it, channeling, whatever you want to call it, tuning in, downloads. I don't know, what the cool kids are saying these days about it, but you are sensing that there is something within you that has another wisdom, another knowing, and not
Yes.
another perspective. And this can feel like just your thoughts within you. But when you start loving yourself and respecting yourself, you start caring and respecting those thoughts within you instead of shutting them down, dismissing them, calling yourself labels, and thinking, oh, well, I'm just FUCK'd because that's just a whole bunch of garbage. Or, oh, that's just what I want to hear. Or, oh, I don't want to hear that. I'll dismiss that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, it was very, I've kind of sat with myself and tried this in the past. And yeah, it's funny you mentioned about the prompting of anything because like I don't normally do that
Mm,
at that time or outside or whatever. So, I was prompt to think it to do it, which yeah, anyway, it was really neat. It's definitely empowering, and I know I know no one's alone. Like we're never alone. We always have our teams with us, and it just felt
mm,
even more of a sense of connectedness through the
yeah.
stars, through the Pleiades system and such.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and it
Pleiades
was
are
nice.
beautiful. The Pleiades are beautiful, and they're really special for us here in New Zealand because with the multicultural, we're very much aware that they know they come from those stars. They know they come from those stars. So, so many people view, ancient or primitive cultures from past, I mean, 20 years ago, as being clueless because they don't have the technology that we do, blah, 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 blah. And in reality, they were more in tune and had more wisdom and insights and true honesty and connections of to their spirituality than most random bullshit gurus that will sell you your star origin.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
just,
true. I believe
I
that.
my day looks like this. I try to do some editing for chapters in the books. I do a session with a client, and I may or may not be able to get to do a channeling publicly or privately for myself and everyone else. And so I'm still doing sessions, and I'm still exploring with my clients who want to understand themselves about other readings that they've had from other, Akashic Records people or medium people or spiritual, whatever, whatever, whatever. And they've paid good money to get this information about their soul history. And, they want to explore it. They want to explore all these amazing lifetimes that they've been sold has happened to them. And so, I'm full of all of their questions that they want me to ask the subconscious. And, the clients get pretty shocked when they hear that that information that they have believed and made identified by themselves for themselves because of what someone else has told them is absolute garbage. What do you do with that? That's a really fast way to humble yourself, to realize channeling for yourself is probably the best thing you can do to be able to get your true accurate history.
Well, yeah, it makes sense, eh?
Mm-hmm. So I love that you're noticing and sensing within you. You can channel very well. You've done, was it 2 or 3 sessions now with BQH and QHHT, and they were very successful. You got great details and great information. And so remembering that sense when you were under, and the difference between Ryan's Mr. Conscious mind and Ryan's subconscious or main guide, or higher version of self, or Bob, whatever you want to call it, him, they, she, he, the difference. It's subtle, but you must have a session. I think first I needed to have a session first to realize, it's that I'm so good at dismissing that. Oh shit, okay, I want to better start honoring that then, but since it's an advanced being.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I feel like, since my first session, see, it's almost been a year. Um, but yeah, like it's profoundly changed my life in a positive way, outlook. Like it's just, yeah, it's honestly been a really good experience. And again, I highly recommend it to anyone that's maybe on the fence. But I assume, most of your listeners probably have done it But if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's a life changer. It's a game changer. It healed me physically by a few
Mm.
elements, past hurts that I had. I've actually been like pain free for a year, like almost completely pain free, which was amazing. Having old knee injuries or ankle injuries or back
Mm.
injuries or whatever. That my spirituality, it was the huge kickoff to, it's what I needed at the time. It's what I still need now. It's why I'm drawn to your videos. The information is profound.
Mm. When
Yeah.
we channel for ourselves, we very quickly can hear fake channeling. As much as it's outrageous to hear fake channelers go for it and pretend to be fake channeling with their written words or whatever, it helps us, I think, because we can instantly resonate with what's true, what's ego, and all that sort of stuff. So I find it interesting how people will judge channeling when they've never channeled for themselves. I mean, someone was saying how, it can't be channeling if there's swearing involved. And I'm like, well, yeah, my subconscious will use my language, but, me talking me quite brutally and frankly, I mean, I'm a potty mouth, man. I feel so, I feel that the English language is inadequate to express my feelings and my observations of what's happening here and now. And I will be dramatic with my swear words to make, to get out my feelings of outrage of what's going on, what I see. And I do see some really advanced souls using their egos, their human egos, to profoundly limit themselves and others. And, that's all choices. I do know many people's life contracts. And I do know that, for some, they are off path and their teams are trying to get them focused to go back on path. But this is great lessons. This is really great lessons for everyone who is still sort of, I don't know, not empowering themselves and just just following a leader. When they start realizing and recognizing that their leader has their own agenda and their own inner work to do, can be hard because people don't want to be their own leaders. They don't want to grow and support others. They just want to be led. And I see this a lot in the spirituality world. And you can only be as good as your leader. And if your leader has heaps of, other agendas and other priorities, fame and money, you may not be getting the best leadership, moral ethics.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. You know, yeah, like yeah, since I've been on this journey, there's a lot of content out there on social media.
Mm.
Um, and I so many of them, you watch or listen to a video, it might only be a few minutes, it might be a little bit longer, and you just gotta you shake your head at the end of it, and you're like, what did I just watch? Yeah, I think and that's when you gotta look inside and trust your intuition and be like, well, this guy, this girl, this person is just worried about whatever, his own ego or
Mm.
money, right?
Yeah.
And
And it's been really interesting being admin for some Facebook groups because just with Facebook in itself, there's you can see really quickly this like some influencers have multiple Facebook accounts, and so they are constantly trying to hype themselves up with different Facebook accounts, and I'm assuming that would be the same as Telegram as well. So you know there is accountability and everyone's going to know the truth of how people were corrupted and manipulated even in the spiritual world. And this is why I say cute that you can if you resonate with these sessions, awesome. But what would be more fucking awesome, amazing, like the best, fantastic, having your own sessions. That would be the best ever. How could it not be? And so, if that's kind of, that would probably be the worst kind of marketing strategy for someone who was trying to be an influencer, right? To say, go and get yourself healed, go and, find
mhm.
another find free interns. I mean, I think my agenda to help humanity is pretty obvious now, but people are still suspicious, and awesome. We're allowed to be suspicious, but check it out. Question the shit out of it with your own sessions, with your own interns, or your own petitioners, and just go for it and understand what is happening and understand the questions are significant, very significant. And I have seen and heard some very, very limited questions, and I'm sure I've done it 100 times, this week probably, where, I haven't asked the fullest question. And so, they can only give us, we're using our free will to be able to make sure that we're not breaching the rule of non-interference. If you ask a question, they will answer it. If we ask a question, but we really have a bigger concept in our minds, they could also give you that maybe, but understanding what you're doing and asking these questions is important, I think, in my opinion. But then I know people who have had profound sessions and listened to these sessions for years and still are not understanding why they can't judge others, why they can't accept politicians. And you're not angry at the politician, you're angry at the ridiculousness of what it is taking still to awaken humanity. That should trigger everyone. They're so used to complying, they're so used to trusting leaders, they're so used to just going with the flow and being part of the herd, that they can't even think and feel for themselves, let alone do what's best for themselves and accept that. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that, and yes, I 100% agree. And there's a little bit of work there to be done for me, for sure. But yeah, it's just,
well, you're honest. Everyone's got inner work. I've got inner work. You've got inner work. We've all got inner work. Here you go, everybody. We still have inner work to do, because there's always going to be something that is our current issue that we have to grow from and apply. We all know the information. Yes, love each other. Good. Now, that's easy to say, but to love everyone, even their choices, I have to still love people who should know better about how to do these sessions and who should know better about, dismissing concepts that one influencer has said. I had this amazing session yesterday where, we had to ask the subconscious, can QHHT sessions have dark programming put into the information regarding the shift to New Earth? The subconscious was hysterically laughing at us, because it's absolutely ridiculous to think that dark programming could be infiltrated into these sessions. These sessions are so protected. The subconscious is not going to allow dark information to come through you or anyone. That is nonsense. But for a reptilian collective, for example, that is their truth and perspective, that the shift to New Earth can't possibly be what we hear from Arcturians or Palladians or Lyrans or any other collective that is, spilling the beans on the whole secrets of what's happening here and why. So anyway, I don't know if anyone's hearing this for the very first time, they're like, Jesus, she's fucking passionate about this.
Well, that's good, because you are, and
someone has to care enough about asking the big questions, even though they're scary, to be able to share it to all those other people. I mean, practitioners too scared to share the truth, to maybe trigger people to understand what's happening. I mean, that's inner work for them, isn't it? We can't, if we're trying to block people from growing, we don't like growing pains, we don't like to be triggered, we don't like to be in shock. But you know what else we don't like? Limited perspectives and people holding back others' growth because of their own egos.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, you're definitely passionate about it, Joe, and it's very obvious to me, and I appreciate that. It's just that much more real, in my opinion, right? And I appreciate it.
Well, I wish I had maybe more grasp of vocabulary. I probably wish I could be confident in my spelling and all that sort of stuff. But I also have acceptance of who I am and all of my skill sets, my strengths and my weaknesses. And I could focus on a whole lot of stuff that I, wanted to improve upon. But I also feel like I'm so fucking busy doing other things, all these other little things that I wanted to get to, are just kind of luxuries that I won't be able to get to right now. And that's okay. I'm totally okay with it. I still am very privileged and blessed to be able to support people who are amazingly, ridiculously advanced souls here now. Oh my God, like just thinking about the session. I always think about sessions until I have the next session, and then I kind of focus on that. So, I'm still processing the session yesterday, and it was phenomenal. Another lifetime off planet where they were, using materials, using water, and providing it and infusing the water in high frequency. And they were trying to help another collective and trying to support others who had come to their planet. And the opportunists, shall we say, who came to the planet, and they misused and overused, overused the water. And it drained the crystals that were charging this water, and it impacted the whole planet. And I mean, it was so beautiful. Sorry, I sort of, it was incredible. And I just felt so grateful to be able to help that client access this experience that they had had on another planet. And it was so poignant, so purposeful for now. Absolutely for now. And as you know, when you're doing these sessions, the words are one small aspect of the experience of the sessions. You feel everything when you're going through these other lifetimes. You get so much more extra senses and awarenesses. The words are like, I feel like sometimes the words are only 5% of the whole experience because of everything else that's going on. And you can hear just words talking, but there is so much more awareness of the other lifetime experience. It's rich, full of senses of just what's in the surroundings of the equipment you're wearing, the body you're wearing, the people that you're experiencing it with, and the scenarios and the situations. That's so luscious. And you're getting this rudimentary English language to express wonderment and amazing. I mean, it's not even a trailer, like it's amazing. I can't express it, but we're getting just insanely amazing life experiences that are so applicable to why they are here now. And these souls who are just so activated right now, so ready to be of service right now, and they have deserved to be awoken and supported by a lot of other truth and sharing of information that others are getting at the same time. But it sort of seems to, I don't want to really speak my truth in case people judge me, or, say that this is dark programming, or whatever, limited nonsense is out there to kind of dismiss and disempower other collectives who are here now to be of profound service. So, it's exciting. It's exciting to see how much extra information is just being purged out in sessions. And I've seen this big growth now from, they're not even dealing with this lifetime, because this lifetime, they are such advanced beings, and they're so awoken, they're so responsible, they're so accountable, they're so mature in their spirituality and how they're working and conducting themselves this lifetime. The subconscious is not even worried about what they're doing here now. Like, yeah, of course they're perfect, but this is why they need, it's kind of like, that's what the subconscious is sort of saying. And that's not ego. That is not, I can tell when clients have ego in sessions, and, that's their journey. They're still on their stuff. And when the subconscious says you're perfect, they're not lying or bragging. And that certainly wasn't my client's, opinion of themselves. They're still starting to feel proud of their growth, and they're starting to feel confident for the first time about loving themselves and knowing that they're here and they're purposeful and they're significant and they're valued. And, it's a marvelous time to be here, while it looks like a hot shit show for all the people that have no fucking clue why the changes are so rapid and coming abundantly. Have you noticed the ramp up this year? Have you noticed what's coming on? Like there is so much being disclosed. It's like hemorrhaging information and news. And while all of it can be distracting, you know that those people who have been dismissing and not focusing on the world since 2020, it's getting their attention finally now. But gosh, how extraordinary it has had to get to be able to get them to this point to start questioning things. Oh, the one thing I think is going to trigger so many people and should trigger so many people is that train derailment where the chemicals have been released into the air and are killing life exit points, of course, we know, but many animals and people getting super, super sick from it. But no media is talking about it. And this is a huge part of I think it's a higher, and this, cloud, this like, nuclear cloud, mushroom looking thing that is poisoning the ground probably forever. That's just on the most sort of a high production food line ever in that region of the country, if I trust mainstream. But it wasn't even mainstream, it was just truth is talking about it. But those people who are so stressed right now because the air is absolutely poison to them and to their animals and to their land and to their plants and to their crops, and they probably feel like they're being ignored right now, and their worlds are pretty heightened, they're pretty stressed. I want anyone from there to know that we know you, we see you, we know what's going on, and we love you and support you. And this is to awaken those people to realize mainstream media is not telling you true news. They're not telling you what's actually happening. They're dismissing and belittling people who have tried to cover this. I've heard people be arrested for trying to report this matter because, again, so I tapped into, some journalists can't be idiots. They actually are educated. They're not stupid. They shouldn't be stupid. And so I keep questioning, why are they still not sharing the big truth? And again, it's kind of like some of these spiritual like practitioners and stuff. They get the information, they get the truth. They don't want to share the truth because they don't want to trigger people. They don't want to like make people sad or upset. So they censor the truth. They censor their own information, regardless of whether it's about the shift to new earth or about maybe the impacts of the trendiest immune inoculation right now. Whatever it is, they don't want to upset people, so they keep small. They keep like watering it down and trying to like not offend people. The truth, holding back the truth, should offend people.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we've been kind of living in the lie for a while, especially the last 3 years. And
I think potentially forever. All my life, I would imagine we've been living a lie.
Yes.
Like this entire life. And this is why it's very confusing for empaths to understand and gauge and feel their security and their groundedness and their sense of being here in a lie. It's not just, it's every aspect. It's quite fascinating. I think coming here is kind of crazy. Awakening is kind of normal, but yet we call it the opposite, don't we?
Yes, unfortunately. It's I haven't heard much about that train derailment
Oh,
at all. I heard it happened and it was bad, and then everything else that's happened in the last week has taken over. I don't watch mainstream media. I haven't watched it for a long time, which is the biggest help you could do to yourself is turn off that television, that TV.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's been lots going on. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, it is sad. Do you know how big of an area it's infected?
I don't know the stats of it. But it's enough to make people very concerned and worried. And it should be disclosed because it's, you don't know wind factors, you don't know how many people, this isn't a small thing. I think it was I mean it's large. But then, my sense of what large is may not be this your sense, your Canadian
Right.
sense of large. So it was interesting. I did see some footage of it. So it was So thousands of gallons of carcinogenic vinyl chloride has spilled and burnt into Ohio from a 50 train car derailment.
Uh,
So it does look like it would impact many. Um,
in the Great Lakes are there, where it's a bunch of people's water source. Well, yeah, well, but hmm.
mm,
I was gonna say the importance of drinking water, and then that just said the water source being affected or contaminated. Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are more powerful. Our intentions and energy is more powerful than any toxins, right? And we've just said that just recently, publicly, because of what we've heard from sessions, right? And so it's a great reminder. It's a great reminder for everyone. But when you do know that there is animals dying from this, you probably would not want to drink the water. But any water, anything that we can physically hold and set the intentions and energy to be cleansed and cleared, knowing that we can have amazing filtration systems within ourselves as well as energy wise. So this is scary. This is when we have to truly trust in ourselves and know,
Hmm.
no, 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 within, with no shadow of a doubt, how powerful we are. And I love their statement that they said yesterday, know the power of empowerment. They say these little catchy things, and I think, oh, you guys are so cute. You're so cute with these little things that we can remember, right? Like, you know,
So
feel
clever.
it,
It's almost like
feel,
they know.
yeah, they know, yeah,
So
feel
it's
it.
funny you bring up the empowering part, because I've
Mm,
noticed through my journey here in the last little bit, especially the last, let's say, 3 or 4 weeks, is just talking to people. Um, I've been saying the right thing at the right time, and I'm not normally that person, but I've been empowering people is what I want to get at, by many different things. But it's very interesting because I felt like I knew what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and it resonated with the person I was talking to, and changed their day, changed their week, and I feel like a few of the stuff I said the last bit changed their lives.
mm,
Um, so it's been very interesting, on that front. I
mm.
also
What do you think is the change there? Come on, let's unpack that for you. What do you think is the change? Do you feel like you're not holding back, or do you feel like you're sharing your truth? What's the confidence that's what's going on there?
well, I think yeah, I'm definitely not holding back. I'm looking at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Um, instead of just looking at, the bigger picture or this one news story, looking at the bigger picture, I'm going within more, looking within, um, trusting my own intuition, and having confidence with that intuition to share out. Like just a little example, when I was talking to one of my cousins, and she was having a hard time, and she wanted to go to the gym, and I just said, and she's a Reiki healer and picks up energy. But man, I just mentioned to her, so like do me a favor. Like, what do you want to do? Like look within, take a few minutes, look within, and think about what you want to do. Because she wanted to go to the gym because she felt like she needed to go to the gym. So instead of doing all this, she took a walk with her dog in the forest, in the bush, and sent me pictures of her, with the trees and out in nature, which is truly where she wanted to be. And she, wrote me back later that day and said, thanks for this, thanks you for the suggestion. It's exactly what I needed. The sunshine, the fresh air, being with her animals, being out in nature. Whereas I feel if she would have went to the gym, she would have been around maybe people or energy that she didn't need or didn't want. That's just one example of many, in the last little bit. But I mean, for her to come back and say, "Hey, thanks for the suggestion," it was just a little bit of that confirming that what I said was right. And then to trust myself more when I'm talking to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. And so you're just empowering her. And we have all these routines that kind of don't really serve us for whatever reasons, and we just sort of feel stuck in them. And yeah, I mean, and so how amazing did it feel to be able to support her in that?
Oh, it felt great. It really did. And there's been numerous, like I said, other instances in the last few weeks. And the other thing I did the other day, which was interesting, was I'm from a small town and I went to a store and I didn't even know, but they had a crystal section. So I usually feel like I can pick up like the energies of the crystals. So I went to this basic electronic store that had a little section of crystals. And I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that came up to talk to me in the 10 minutes that I was there. Um, and we all talked about it. They were all spiritual people. They were all open to hear what we all had to say to each other. It might be my new hangout
Hmm.
because it was a gathering point where I had some soulful conversations with people, and I ended up sitting there for almost not sitting, standing for almost an hour, talking to just
Beautiful.
different people. Smiling, showing my joy, my gratitude. Um, mentioned a few people about QHHT. They've heard about it. Always thought about sessions. So I was kind of just telling them my opinion on it and what I got personally from the sessions. Yeah, and it's just kind of a neat little spot that I didn't know that was in my town, probably for a long time. Yeah, and it was just, it was obviously purposeful. I went there to work on a cell phone that was having some issues. Had to kill some time, walked around, and I found it. I've been in the store 50 times. Never noticed them there. So, I
Perfect
had some
timing.
great conversations, and yeah, it was meaningful and purposeful, and it was nice to talk to like-minded individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you're seeking and searching. I'm pretty sure you'd even said that you want to start having like-minded people that are sort of open to have conversations. You're seeking actively for friends. And that's,
Yes.
as soon as we put ourselves open and out there, we will get them. When we just feel like, oh, people are too much right now, pass, I'm going to block myself. Well, guess what our amazingly credible minds will do, and our energy fields will do. And sometimes we don't realize that we're blocking. Sometimes we don't realize, sort of what we're impressing upon ourselves and others. So, I love that you've got this profound, confirmation that you're open to receiving what you're wanting, and you're actively inviting energy into your own sort of energy field to converse and mingle. And I love that. And I think it's divine timing. I think everyone came together for the exact necessary time and moment to empower yourself and to this is so significant, and yet you could just go, oh well, that was just a coincidence, that was cool, but
And
th- this can
I just wanted
continue
to be,
on.
I just wanted to note on that, Joe. There isn't any coincidences now that I'm noticing in this journey. Years ago, I would have said that's coincidence. Wow, how crazy is that? But now it's not. It's meaningful. There's synchronicities. I'm open to observe them, feel them, and it's just like I said, it's changed my life to the positive. I had another interesting story a few weeks ago. I was driving home, dropping the kids off to school, and was left town to come back home. And I turned around and said, "I'm going to go to the store and see what they have." Again, I literally had to turn around and backtrack. I don't do that. Gas is too expensive, right?
Yeah.
Petro is too expensive. Gas. But so I turned around, went, and I end up talking to the store owner, and it was another hour and 20-minute conversation. And it was so profound because was having a bad day. And she said, like, well, and at the end of it, she goes, well, thank you for coming in today because I know there's hope. I know there's people out there like this. I know she said hope, and it was pretty emotional. I don't know exactly what she was going through, but something turned me around at that point to go in that store. One person visited, so we almost had an hour of hour and 20 minutes of uninterrupted conversation, talking about everything spiritual. Small town, it's hard to come by, but like you said, Joe, opening it up and setting that intentions. I mean, it's happening, and I've also helped her out too, which really makes me feel good and empowers myself to continue on and to keep searching and looking and going down this path that I'm on.
Mm, yeah, that we were just talking before about how um you know the big boulder that gets dropped into the ocean will never see the ripple out effects. And
Yeah.
the boulder wants to see the ripple out effects. When we do things, we want to see the results. We would love to see how the impact of our actions do. I think for some people, they may not want to see the ripple out effects of how their choices may or may not empower humanity, but that's a judgmental opinion. And so, you instantly knew from the ripple out effects of your actions, just dropping into that store was fantastic. And, unfortunately, sometimes when we do these big things, or even just, go to a shop, sometimes we enjoy the ripple out effects that we provide for others and ourselves. And, sometimes we feel the splashbacks from sort of the shock and the reluctance to kind of shift and change. But in that situation, it sounded fantastic and beautiful, and just great confirmation that you're here, you can be respected, you can speak, you can feel, you can share. And that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Absolutely. And then it's funny because on the weekend I kind of had a opposite experience where I was talking to a worker that came to my house to do some checking the hydrometer and stuff. And we just kind of got chatting for a bit. And he was saying we were just talking about the worlds of events and stuff. He wasn't really a spiritual guy. I wasn't going to go that way. I was just filling out the conversation. But he basically said, he goes, wow, he goes, if the media and the government aren't telling the truth, I don't know what to do.
Mm,
Like, I don't, I couldn't, I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to believe. And then he told me, and then I told him, I said, well, you gotta trust yourself. You gotta trust your intuition and go within. And
mm.
he kind of brushed it off and said, well, my intuition has got me into a lot of trouble before. So it was kind of an interesting, and who
It's
knows?
true.
Everyone's,
It's true. Like, people's intuition have got them into a lot of trouble because they haven't done enough healing. So
yeah,
they're using their intuition from a big wad of inner hurt and scare. So they're afraid of change because, it's like you get cheated on once, so then you assume you're going to be cheated on forever. And so you behave in the way that will make that person cheat. And so, I
mm,
mean, our intuition is led by lots of hurt, or, we're the healed people or unhealed people in certain aspects. And so, what is the intuition a reflection of? Your intuition is only a reflection of your inner work that you've done thus far.
yeah,
And so, yeah, absolutely, your intuition can be your worst nightmare because you're not trusting others, you're suspicious of others, you don't love yourselves, you don't, if your intuition is to not trust yourself, I mean, how is that going to like it? So anyway, sorry. Yep, I get you.
no worries. It was just contrast in conversations. I took that from those, and honestly, as sad as it is, just realizing like how, like you said, how far people are, meaning how much inner work needs to be done. You know, it was wow. It was it's still kind of sitting with me. Just it's a shock of everything, and like realizing that people that aren't open to information besides what is being spelled on mainstream TV and media, like they're gonna have a really hard time. And you've mentioned that lots of times, and I've heard that lots of times. The spiritual awakened people, we're just gonna have a little bit of a better understanding of what's going on, and that was a really big obvious thing for me
Mm,
to realize just how stuck in the 3D that person was, and just the inner work that needs to be done. And
mm. But
I
I mean, so when people are scared, shit, are you telling me I can't trust the government? You can't, like when they're
yeah,
suddenly realizing all of their leaders that they have just, accepted to comply with and follow with, suddenly you realize a leader has got its own agenda that's not serving you. Everyone does freak out, regardless of whether it's the official, governments, or whether it's a spiritual guru, or whether it's a gym instructor, or whether it's a musical teacher. Whatever it is, whoever we are giving our power to be able to teach and guide us. If they have got another agenda that is not true of empowerment to empower you while they're empowering themselves, we're all going to be like, holy shit, what do we do now? I'm fucked.
yeah,
So yes, your advice is go within, but also remind him we're all in the same boat. We've all recognized and realized that maybe this government or this agenda isn't serving for our best good. So thank goodness we've got each other. Thank goodness we're aware of this all together, and we can find unity and communities together and find that commonality of common sense, which is so, rare these days.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, I should have reminded him on that, how you're
But
not alone.
But
But
this is
yeah.
perfect because you're starting to, have engagement in these conversations. You're allowed. He didn't want to hear. He didn't want the answers that day. He
No.
wanted to express, to feel it, to be in fear, and to be
Yeah.
heard. And you weren't like, "Oh, grow up, mate." You didn't dismiss him. You didn't go. You didn't belittle him. You honored him. You respected his thoughts and feelings, and you were there for him. And so, yes, we can't be perfect in every exchange. And in fact, what you did do with him was perfect because he got to own his fears, his shit, his worries, his concerns, and he had a friend in you. And that is so significant that he is learning that he can trust you while he is openly acknowledging, I don't know if I can trust my own intuition right now. He's showing you he's trusting you.
Yes. Yeah, and you're right, 100% fear-based. And, I just hope I left that situation planting a seed, and that seed's going to grow, and,
Mm,
he's going to grow because of it, is the least I can
yeah.
hope. It's just, yeah.
And absolutely. And I mean, when we started awakening, the majority 2020, we started following a lot of groups and a lot of influencers who were very outspoken about what was happening and why. And that was great because it sort of felt like, oh, finally we get some understanding. But then very quickly we realized that they had their own focus, their own agenda, and maybe even their own disinformation for whatever reasons. And this is really hard. Where do we go to encourage people who are starting to notice that there may be systems that are not of pure humanity? What do we do? Where do we share them? Do we sort of say do something super woo like a quantum session where they don't even know about reincarnation? Like, what do we do? And so therefore we're it. We are it. We are their friends. We are their family, and we get to talk to them in small little single serving conversations to empower them to recognize that they can think and feel for themselves, and that I'm here for you. We may not always know the answers to what their stresses are, but when they are seeking the answers within themselves, is it really our job and opportunity to tell them our truth when they're showing us that they are on their own path? And people can awaken so fast, like dramatically fast. Now, almost like, oh my gosh, I think it'd be too scary fast. like, like everyone's got their own pace. And this is why I've seen profound people awaken within months, and they are fully accepting and they have no qualms of worries. They're absolutely on board. And I think, wow, that's a brave choice. But then maybe that's what they needed to experience all of the nonsense at a longer level, a bigger rate, for them to just be able to jump joyfully into, oh, thank goodness we're shifting.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, do you think, like, what's it take to be awakened? Sorry, not what's it take to be awakened. What's it take? Like, what's
Well,
the
what's the level of awakening do you want? Do you want the basic level of awakening, which is that there has
okay?
been corruption and disinformation that have been sort of dumbing down and numbing down humanity, so they can't evolve financially, maturely, educationally, spiritually, wisdom, everything's trying to be. We've been limited to the truth
Hmm.
in every aspect of every industry, everything. And it's not to empower us to be equal to others. That's still trying to make us feel separate, and they're still trying to make us judge other genders or other races or other choices that we're doing. So what level of awakening are you seeking for someone to start questioning the narratives, to wonder if this is the right way to empower humanity? I mean, when you start realizing that, then you've got to start healing from all the stuff your life's been exposed and victim to. That can feel very, disempowering and scary as well. And sort of thinking, what could I have been? if I would have been loved and nurtured in an education system, what could I have been? Could I have been empowered to know that my dyslexia was not a disability, but actually like it was a guide to show me where I was supposed to focus and empower my own fine-tuned skill sets into? Like what could we all have been here if we had had the education that had honored our soul, honored our journey, honored who we are? Once you start questioning these things and realizing how handicapped we have been living within these systems, and have to get over that, not feel bitter about that, and trust that everyone, all the teachers, all the systems, they were all complying because they thought that they were doing the best for all. How many times has someone done something claiming this is the best for all, but not seeing the significance of the results and the outcome for those actions of best for all? And it's interesting. I mean, fantastic conversations. But so you awaken to that, you have to heal from that, accept that we are here now. What are we going to do now with our choices? Do we want to go and find our skill sets and do the career that we've always wanted to, or something else, or something else, or something else? So you're awakening to all these different systems, situations, and experiences. And when you discover things like a life contract, I can tell you, it still bothers me, I guess, when there are spiritual people that are not aware that you have a life contract, and they just don't acknowledge it. Yes, it's labels and names. They may be more familiar or comfortable with the name of karma or something else. But when you don't sort of understand how it is to even get entry here into a life, to live the life you're living with the people you're living and what you're doing with your time here, yes, it's a free will planet, but it's very much designed around a life contract of great significance. And for those people who feel very hard done by their life experiences because of the life contract they have chosen for themselves, that's a level of maturity that some are not willing to accept, because they don't want to be victim to their own decisions, their own choices. It has to be something else. It has to be an external problem. It has to be an external monster. It has to be a negative, naughty government policy, or a something. So
Wow. You were reading my mind in the last 5 minutes. It was crazy. Very meaningful to me. I tried a career for a while and didn't, work this one career in a province and didn't go. I didn't jive with the system, and I tried to chase that career all over all over Canada, and it didn't work. Even so much to the point of having an interview with a 4 panel or 3 panel interviewer, and at the very end of my interview, shaking the hand of someone and spilling a glass of water all over their laptops and getting pretty much escorted out of the room.
oh
Um,
fuck.
right? I didn't even see the glass of water there. I had another incident chasing that career where I had to travel for a test, and on the way back from the test, I get T-boned by an impaired driver and a write-off of my vehicle. Um, and then so that tripped up that province. In the other province, I had to do a physical test, and I tripped and fell and tore my ankle and sprained my ankle so bad that I couldn't even continue. So, it took me a while to get over that personally. But now, I mean, like a year ago, it hit me like someone slapped me across the face. What's it meant to be? How much more not meant to be can you get? But I had to accept that the school I did
Mm,
and my desire to do this career for so long, it wasn't meant to be.
yeah.
And I've accepted that now, but it did, at the time I was pretty bummed about it. But I mean, looking at it now, I mean, yeah, it was absolutely purposeful. And yeah, and I grew since, and could look at the bigger picture. And I mean, now looking at it and talking about it, it's funny how I didn't even realize it at the time, but Yeah, that wasn't meant to be. So it's funny you mentioned that, because yeah, that's you mentioned something about career, and that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, I mean, so true. Anything that doesn't go as we plan, as we hope. Remember, I mean, we always have these things where we what we want. We think we want that job. We think we want that, you know, that career, that relationship, that house, that whatever, 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 that muffin, that that delicious ice cream. Yeah, we always have these want lists, don't we? And then there's this need list. And thank gosh for our guides who know. And then, so many people are like, well, that's them interfering with my free will. And it's like, no, that's them forcing you to wake up to your contract. And, tough love is always love. And oh my gosh, they said something the other day, which was so adorable. They said, many human egos have been triggered because of what they think is tough love. And they're like, we're not talking to the egos, we're talking to the souls who know this, who need to be reminded of this. And I just thought, oh my gosh, that's such a good point that they're making, is that, they're really talking to our inner knowing versus, our diva human minds that are just outraged that we have to love everyone.
Mm, wow. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, well, a lovely chatting. I think we should probably chat again, obviously, because it's just so easy to talk to you and, have chit chat of fantastic concepts and whatnot. So if there isn't anything else, are we good?
Yeah, I think it's good to keep it around this length. Again, thanks for the invitation today, Joe, and
Mhm.
much love to everyone out there.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing your personal experiences and epiphanies as well. It's really great to be able to have confirmation that this shit actually works.
Yes, and to yeah, it really is, and to look at everything at a bigger picture, right? It's purposeful. So thanks
Yeah,
again, Joe.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And to everyone listening, we send in you lots of love and I invite you to recognize your own epiphanies and proof and confirmation that your growth is meaningful, not only to you, but to everyone around you, because that's when we should truly feel proud of our accomplishments and our graduations of mindsets to be able to be of service for all. We're here for it. Much love to you. Drink lots of water. And hey, I heard this rumor that interns are free. Go and find them, hunt them down, and do them all.
Sounds like a plan.
Hot dates. Yeah. Okay. Bye.